Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the annual Public Service Awards. This is the first in the day of celebrations for the class of 2025. At Hofstra Law, we are proud to serve our community through pro bono and public service work. This morning, we recognize our graduating students for their deep commitment to this work and their engagement in the wide range of public service programs available at the law school. Embedded in Hofstra Law's mission is the work that we do to challenge and inspire you to make a difference in the world. And as I see the number of students here today, I know that you are all well on your way to serving the public good. And I know that you also understand the sense of fulfillment that pro bono service brings. I'm pleased to share that your class, the class of 2025, has conducted almost 74,000 hours of pro bono work during law school. Wow. On behalf of the Hofstra Law faculty and administration, I applaud the work that you've already accomplished and the dedication to justice that you've already shown. I look forward to hearing about the impact that you will have on your communities as you move forward into the profession. I now have the honor of introducing Professor Jennifer Gunlack, who will discuss the various public service efforts by our students through our clinics, our community partnerships, and projects led by our esteemed centers and institutes. I know those of you who are here for one of these graduates will be as proud of our students as I am. Since her arrival at Hofstra Law almost 15 years ago, Professor Gunlack has continuously encouraged the school to expand our pro bono and public service commitments. To her credit, and through her hard work, her creativity, inspiration, and leadership, she has admirably succeeded in this goal. In addition to being the Emily and Stephen Mendel Distinguished Professor and a clinical professor of law, and the director of the Hofstra Law Pro Se Legal Assistance Program, Professor Gunlack will also now be spearheading our efforts in public justice programming as they continue to grow. Professor Gunlack is truly committed to our mission and a great supporter of promoting public service at Hofstra Law and beyond, and I am proud to welcome her to the podium.
So congratulations again to the class of 2025 on your graduation. You have been nothing short of extraordinary in your commitment to public interest and pro bono service during your 3 years of law school here. You have made us very proud. And for those of you in the room who don't know what pro bono means, it means for the public good. And over 126 students, roughly half the class, will be receiving awards today for their exceptional levels of pro bono service hours. Many of our graduates, in fact, a quarter of our graduating class, have secured postgraduate employment in public sector or public interest jobs. So specifically, we've got 33 who are going to DA's offices, 2 who are going to the Army JAG Corps, 13 who are going to be in legal aid or legal services or public defender organizations. 10 will be in local, federal or state government agencies, and 12 will be working for federal or state judges. And I want to specifically highlight some of the accomplishments over the past 3 years of this class, recognizing that I am no doubt forgetting some, and I've also been instructed to be brief, but I'll take my liberty up here. So first of all, our clinics and externships, a large number of our 3Ls, many of whom are on the stage right here, now have put in countless hours in our renowned clinical programs representing immigrant adults and children who are facing deportation or seeking asylum or immigration status, veterans who are seeking VA benefits, small business owners, as well as individuals facing criminal charges. Others have worked in unpaid externship positions in a variety of legal services organizations or state or government agencies. We also have a number of hybrid experiential programs where students can work directly with clients on pro on pro bono matters. And I want to highlight a few that our 3Ls have been involved in. The Medical Legal Partnership is a collaboration between the law school and Hofstra's medical school and Northwell Health, and it provides legal services for Northwell patients who are facing issues that might contribute to their poor health, such as unsanitary housing conditions, denial of health benefits, immigration issues, domestic violence, you name it. And Michaela Kolafiar and Ashley Bach were both fellows of our Gittenstein Institute for Health Law and Policy and helped work on the MLP in connection with that work. We also have a collaboration with Legal Hand, their call-in center. Several of our 3Ls have volunteered with the organization to provide free legal information to people who are facing housing, family, consumer debt-related issues, and a variety of other matters. And volunteers assist those individuals with relevant information about the law, filling out court forms and that kind of things. And I want to give a special shout out to Elkanah Alexander and Jessica Petrie, both of whom have volunteered considerable hours there. We also have approximately 20 of our 3Ls who have worked in my program, the Pro Se Legal Assistance Program, providing limited scope representation for people who are bringing cases in federal court out in the federal courthouse in Central Islip. One of our special externship programs is the Pro Bono Scholars Program. After a highly selective process last spring, 11 of our third-year students were accepted into the Pro Bono Scholars Program. They, after finishing up their coursework in December, sat for the February bar exam and then immediately start working full-time for 12 weeks, putting in a minimum of 520 hours over the course of 12 weeks. And I am very proud to say that all 11 of those individuals successfully have passed the bar exam. So I'm going to read out their names because I'm really proud of them, because I also have taught them this spring. Elkanah Alexander, Abigail Farias, Jacqueline Gonzalez, Alexis Gooding, Danae Henry, Jaden Martin, Darielle Matthews, Alexis Parks, Angela Q, Benjamin Underwood, and John Wilkin. So all of them have set the bar. Now the rest of you got to all pass it to. In addition, we have a few student-led organizations that provide pro bono legal services. I think these are particularly cool because the students themselves are the ones who, through their organizations, come up with pro bono projects that they can be working on. So for example, we have the Courtroom Advocates Project, which works for Sanctuary for Families to provide legal assistance for survivors of domestic violence. And Alexis Parks and Ashley Hall have been really involved in that. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA as it is known, offers free help for people who make $50,000 or less, persons with disabilities, and limited English speaking taxpayers who need assistance in preparing their returns. And it was led by Juliana Gonzalez, Oscar Loja Bermio, and Giselle Rodas. They trained 15 students this year and volunteered over 476 hours collectively, that whole student group. We also have a relatively new program called Volunteers Preparing Advanced Directives. This year, they did a one-day clinic hosted with the YMCA in Queens, led by 3L Sarah Bogan, where they assisted community members preparing wills, healthcare proxies, and powers of attorney. And also Raul Frey participated, another 3L. And in addition, I want to give a shout out to the Friedman Social Justice Fellowship Program, which exposes students to public interest law through active engagement in a range of events. And the fellows help them, for example, Raul Frey helped to organize a program on criminal justice reform featuring Edwin Raymond, and who's a retired NYPD lieutenant and civil rights activist. We also have several graduating Friedman Fellows: Carl Armbrust, Phil Kodal, Raul Frey, Michaela Kolafar, Jay Martin, Maddie Symes, and Chris Volpe. And for students who have unpaid summer positions, many of whom this is particularly challenged, the people who are really committed to public interest work often have to do unpaid internships because the organizations don't have the money to pay them. And so our Public Justice Foundation provides stipends to students to support that work. And they do a lot of fundraising and programming throughout the year to support our public interest oriented students. And Carl Armbrust, Sydney Albert, Dan Espinera, and Robert Paul were all intimately involved in heading up PJF this year. So let me close by saying in 1999, before probably all of you were born, former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor said, "Certainly life as a lawyer is a bit more complex today than it was a century ago. The ever-increasing pressures of the legal marketplace, the need to bill hours, to market to clients, and to attend to the bottom line have made fulfilling the responsibilities of community service quite difficult. But public service marks the difference between a business and a profession. While a business can afford to focus solely on profits, a profession cannot. It must devote itself first to the community in its responsibility to serve. And I can imagine no greater duty than fulfilling this obligation. And I can imagine no greater pleasure." These words still ring true to me today, and I hope for all of you. More recently, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor had this to say during public remarks last week at the National Museum of African History or African American History. "If you aren't used to fighting and losing battles, then don't become a lawyer." And I would add, don't become a public interest lawyer because it can be brutal. You can lose a lot. Oftentimes the law and or the facts are against you. And Justice Sotomayor noted that as public interest lawyers, our job is to stand up for people who can't do it themselves. We need trained and passionate and committed lawyers to fight this fight. Many of the lawyers who are making good trouble, as Representative John Lewis would say, who are fighting important battles to uphold the rule of law in this country today, are our public interest lawyers. As a final note, before we go to the individual awards, I want to say to the graduates, you should be incredibly proud of yourselves for all that you have accomplished during law school. And I hope that even if you aren't going into public interest positions, that you will remember the importance of pro bono work and what it means and continue to find ways to engage in that wherever you end up landing. All right, and I'm going to turn it over to Peggy Gart, who's going to give out the awards.
Good morning. The Bronze Award is awarded to a graduating student who has completed 250 hours of public service. Our Bronze Award winners are Elise Anderson, Isabel Balillo, Angelique Bouzalakos, Christina Buzenko, Jalen Coleman, Ashley Cochran, Kyle Batibene, Robert Franchini, Evangelos Georgakopoulos, Abigail Glatman, Christopher Griffin. Gabriella Kaminsky. Vasilios Karamanlis. Michaela Polifar. Julia Lanzalata. Giro Macheroni. Cynthia Madrid. Daryl Mirage. Elizabeth Motter. James Moran. Stephanie O'Kane. Jessica Petrie. Jack Ryan. Sean Sklar. Angelina Vasilevsky. Christopher Volpe. Sam Wagner. Stephanie Walsh. Moving on to our Silver Award. The Silver Award is awarded to a graduating student who has completed at least 500 hours of public service. Alexander Ksorny. Michael Krongold. Jacqueline Malfi. Jaden Martin. Darielle Matthews. Taylor Mavica. Brooke Modica. Nena Onwuchekwa. Daniel Salim. Lauren Simonelli. Noah Wilpon. And lastly, the Gold Award is awarded to a graduating student who has completed at least 750 hours of public service. Michael Abidin. Sarabella Adler. Sydney Albert. Elkanah Alexander. Stephanie Alvarez. Carl Armbrust. Lauren Baffo. Stephanie Bodiz. Sarah Bogan. Jessica Cabral. Zachary Calandrino. Claire Campuzano. Sammy Casamassino. Amelia Chipetta. Alexa Siri. Philip Kodal. Nicholas Constantinidis. Elizabeth Corbin. Philip DeLeo. Julia DeFazio. Stephanie Delandro. Matthew Demestrio. Iman El-Shlazi. Daniel Espinera. Michael Evers. Abigail Farias. Nicholas Fiorino. Bennett Forrest. Jacqueline Gonzalez. Juliana Gonzalez. Alexis Gooding. Bailey Greenberg. Lauren Hages. Ashley Hall. Veronica Harris. Kirsten Heiss. Danae Henry. Shuriz Hishma. Michael Hodeling. Serene Hoysen. Massimo Indolini. Kristen Julich. Benjamin Katz. Ethan Kananoff. Emma Kiernan. Jessica Kahn. Thomas Lang. Nicholas Lazaro. Kyle Levy. Patricia Lindquist. Oscar Loja Baremo. Esther Lewis. Alexander Magugin. Andrew Mirovich. Akrakuja Muminov. Brian O'Regan. Gabriela Oliveira. Alexis Parks. Jennifer Parlow. Daniel Parmet. Dev Patel. Alexa Paterzo. Robert Paul. Alexander Pickard. Christina Portualo. Craig Puccia. David Chu. Angela Q. Ibtidinor Rahman. Linda Raymond. Giselle Rodas. Madeline Ruiz. Lucas Sabah. Maya Sabu. Diego Signs. Natalie Scotto. Madeline Symes. Winston Suratin. Najeli Smith Ortiz. Siam Sohail. Vito Tinari. Mary Tona. Benjamin Underwood. Bianca Valenti. Connor Verstraten. Victoria Vitali. And John Wilkin. Congratulations, class of 2025.
Okay, it's time to conclude, and it's going to be very, very brief, which is simply to tell you all, thank you for joining us today, and I hope you can come across the quad to Bits and Bites for a light reception to shore you up for the rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.